Let me sip on my coffee. Coffee sip. It's Sexy Book Club Saturday. I need like a dance, but then like a whoa, whoa. It's another football book. It's The Hook Up. This book is by Kristen, whoever you are, you know who you are, Kristen Callihan. It's book one in a series, because of course there's always a series with these. And I read it as part of what I like to call Sexy Book Club, Sexy Houseboat Book Club. A couple of years ago, friends and I went up to a houseboat and I was reading a book and everyone wanted to know what I was reading. And it was a sexy book. So we all read it together out loud. What started off as 2 or 3 people listening to this at times turned into 30 people or so listening to Sexy Book Club. And it was hilarious because it was a mix of guys, it was a mix of girls, it was quite funny. All the girls, of course, were right into it straight away. But amazingly, the fellas tended to pop up their heads and come up onto the top deck when orgasms were happening, when sexy scenes were on. So that's how to get fellas interested in reading, ladies. Read aloud and read sexy books. That's what I'm saying. It's about Anna and Drew. They meet in class and Drew is instantly attracted to Anna. Anna is instantly attracted to Drew, but she's very much like he's the jock. He's attractive and hello, yes, I appreciate that package, but he's a bit of a douche pants. And he kind of says some things to her to start off that he thinks are suave. And as soon as he says them in his head, he's like, you idiot. But she's like, what? Because he's all like, hey, how you doing, lady? Hey. And he calls her curvy and is curvy, and so she thinks he's being a dick and like trying to stir her up when he's actually being complimentary. What starts then is a bit of instant banter, kind of chemistry. They meet up. He decides he wants to pursue her a little bit. He wants to make out with her maybe a bit more, always is. So he meets up with her at a party later on. They end up hooking up, as you do. And she decides that we can do the hookup. This is good. It was great sex. She has needed that in her life. And this is what I liked about Anna as a character. She was a sexual person. She wasn't afraid of being a sexual person. She'd had experience before. She enjoyed that part of her lifestyle. It wasn't something that she was, scared of. It wasn't one boyfriend or whatever. Anna owned her own sexuality, which is great, I think. So she's got issues in terms of her parenting. Her absent father, never around, mother always would sort of distance herself when a new boyfriend was on the scene. So Anna's got issues in terms of relationships and those get close to her. So while she's happy to hook up with Drew, she doesn't want him as a boyfriend. She's very, very clear about that. She's like, this is a hookup, this is all this is. And because she also doesn't want part of that lifestyle that he lives in, which is the football lifestyle. And I think what the hookup did for me really well was acknowledge social media in that a lot of books, because of social media, tend to kind of not talk about it at all, or the whole book is that topic. And this is just it just comes up a couple of times where people see them out together and then she sees the commentary on it the next day, and that's what throws her. So it is actually genuine things where, girls, unfortunately, and guys were like saying, oh, Drew's out with that girl, what? And it would spook you, it would spook anybody, and they would comment on different aspects of that relationship. So that really played into it. And I thought that was really well handled in terms of he was someone with a profile. He was the quarterback. He was very well known. And yet the things I like about Drew was that actually no one really knew him. He was an incredibly smart guy. He's got a very close-knit group of friends who he's incredibly loyal to. And he wasn't man-whoring. Yay! He'd had ex-girlfriends and one of them was a little bit cray, but that's kind of why he broke up with her, in that she wasn't right for him, and he kind of saw that, so he ended that relationship. And they were together for a bit longer than they should have been. He ended that relationship. So I liked him for those reasons. I liked him, the cockiness, the banter they have in the beginning early on is incredibly awesome. They kind of really fiery fight back. It's laden with innuendos and puns, and it's just good. It really sets the table for their relationship in terms of how they play with each other. Which then translates to how they physically play with each other. What? You know it. The sex scenes, hot. Oh yeah, hot. The second half of the book takes a dramatic edge when a big event happens, and that's requiring, and it kind of steps it up a bit in the melodrama. I didn't mind it, but it kind of got a little bit crazy sometimes. There was a couple of scenes which were hilarious in a way, when they probably shouldn't have been, in terms of the dramatics of the characters, but it was fine. There is a sex scene in that second half though, that's dramatic, wow. It's, new adult sexy can be sexy, but this was like a whole other level of sexy in terms of let's just say you won't look at olive oil the same way again. If you've read it, you know exactly what scene I'm talking about, and you were like, "Whoa, okay." If you haven't read it, when you get to it, you will be wanting to comment on me. You want to call me. Let's just trust me when I say the entire houseboat, when I read this book, when that scene came up, everyone stopped talking and everybody was listening. It was intense. I really enjoyed it though, the hookup, yeah, it was good. As I said, and the group of boys surrounding Drew is actually really good too. There's some strong characters in there which get their own spin-offs. But even in the book that they're in, they're really good. They call him on his stuff sometimes. And they also defend him, and they see Anna not as a threat, but the intensity of their relationship as something that could be good or could be bad. Drew's parents passed away when he was younger, and he's kind of been an orphan, so he's very much been alone. And while that isolation, he's been really strong and smart about it in terms of how he handles himself to the outward world. You can feel this kind of loneliness in terms of he is the guy holding up the team, he is the guy leading the way, and no one kind of ever takes care of him. And in Anna, he finds someone not only to challenge him, but probably to take care of him, both literally at times, but also mentally, and kind of be his refuge. And I think that was really well explored without being kind of too bogged down. It was still fun, and they didn't kind of sit, there was obviously some big epic moments and, monologues to each other about their love and which always happens. But I generally enjoyed it. It was a good fun book. And the sex scenes, as I said, were incredibly sexy and incredibly interesting and incredibly, okay. Wowsies. Kristen Callihan, you know what you're doing. Now, as you can see, I read the book as an ebook, as this cover. But that's not Drew. Drew is not that person, I'll tell you that now. They then were all changed when the subsequent covers came out to this cover. Way better, right? Way, way better. My ebook keeps reverting to that cover though, and I hate it. So it's this cover that I like. So if you buy it now, you'll buy it this cover. It's really, really good. So I will review the other books though. There are some other topics to talk about in those books. So if you're wondering about how the rest of the series goes, stay tuned to Sexy Book Saturday. Still got to work on the dance. The book is The Hookup. It's by Kristen Callihan. It's available on right now.